Here comes 10 things that you can automate when you're mixing a beat or a song. And if you have other techniques that you would like to share, let me know in the comments. Let's go! Number 1, volume automation. This is the most basic one, and I like to use this all over the mix. I use it on individual instruments, I use it on buses, and on the main mix bus as well. And this is just to increase the overall impact, to create some interest in the mix. Listen with and without.
Okay, må vel spytte noen bars da. Hør her da. 49. Okay, må vel spytte noen bars da. Hør her da. 49. Føler meg som 19 fortsatt. Oppi samme dritten.
Number 2, pan automation. I use this for creating more intelligibility if there are, for example, 2 vocals that are crashing. For example, in the transition between the verse and the chorus might overlap a bit the last words of the verse, and then I would just automate them to each other's side, and then I would use pan automation. But I can also use it creatively to create more interest and variation, especially when the instrumentation is a bit monotonous. I like to just spread things out a bit and create some movement. Now listen to this with and without. Number 3, and we're still on the basics, this is filter automation, especially in the beginning of a song or a beat. I like to automate some filters, maybe a high pass, a low pass, depending on the source material. I like to cut out all the highs, and then when the verse comes in or the drop comes or whatever, I will just release the filters and let everything be. Another example is you can filter out some of the highs and lows during a verse or a section of a verse, and when the chorus comes in, you can release the filters and have a larger impact, sort of, without actually causing a bump in volume, but you cause a bump in perceived loudness. And now comes number 3B. I'm just sneaking in here, sort of like a bonus. After many years mixing music for people, I have compiled this guide of the mixing guide, I've called it. It's like you can jumpstart your mixing right now by just downloading the guide. The link's in the description. Go to subphotic.com/mixing and you'll get it there. Number 4 is delay automation. So you have a delay bus set up, for example, using something like this, and you can automate certain words or phrases in a verse, and this goes for both rap and singing and everything. You can automate, for example, something that is of importance or something that rhymes or some clever punchline or whatever. You can just take that and throw it off with a delay throw. I typically use a quarter note for this, but it can also work in other directions, and you can experiment a lot with having slightly different decay times on the left and right ear, and depending on what plugin you use, of course. I tend to use the Echo Boy from Soundtoys, and there I have those options, and I really like them. And you can also experiment with saturation and such on that delay throw, so that it stands out a bit from the rest of the verse, for example. Now listen to this with and without. Here's a phrase that I use this technique on. This is a real common trick. I think this technique is lended from the dub reggae scene in Jamaica, and it's just a wonderful technique. They typically use the Roland tape echo for this, but any echo goes, actually. You can just tweak it with saturation and such. Number 5, reverb automation. And here I like to, for example, cut out the reverb during certain phrases, especially when the drums are taken away in a rap verse. The drum is muted and the rapper continues rapping. I like to take down the reverb a bit then, just to create some variation and building up some tension and impact. And I can also increase the reverb at points. For example, increase the all over wetness of the reverb signal, or the decay time, and it can be really effective in a transition, for example, between a verse and a chorus, or as the final word in a song, to create this long reverb tail that goes off into the void after the song is done. For example, listen to this.
Skjønte tidlig jeg var litt uvanlig. Skolegården var som jeg var på safari. Angst eller barndommen, alt var så farlig. Særlig sammenhenger det var galt å være Ari. Skjønte tidlig jeg var litt uvanlig. Skolegården var som jeg var på safari. Angst eller barndommen, alt var så farlig. Særlig sammenhenger det var galt å være Ari.
Number 6 is pitch automation. I like to do this especially on background vocals. So I will insert a pitch plugin on one or more background vocal tracks, and I will automate the wet dry knob, for example, or the pitch shift knob. Like so. So I will create some excitement, and I will do it really subtly. I want you more to feel it than to hear it. And here you can listen with and without.
Jeg føler meg, jeg var sånn jeg føler meg. Du burde føle meg, like meg og føle meg. Jeg føler meg, jeg var sånn jeg føler meg. Du burde føle meg, like meg og føle meg. Føle meg, like meg og føle meg. Jeg føler meg, jeg bare sånn jeg føler meg.
Number 7 is using a compressor to make a more dense chorus, for example. So you have more compression on the vocals in the chorus than you have in the verse. So the verse can be more dynamic. And then you can just increase the threshold and do the makeup gain, automate those two, and create more density in the chorus. That's one way of doing it. Number 8 is to automate special effects such as flangers, phasers, chorus plugins, and etc. Just blending them slightly in to create some interest. I like using it on, for example, the lead vocal tracks or the drum bass during the song where it fits. You can insert something like that to just break things up a bit. And still, yet, I'm a fan of minimalism and simplicity, so just slightly, just so that the listener can feel it. It doesn't need to be a profound effect, but you can do that as well. So whatever fits the song, but that's just an idea. It's really subtle, but listen, with and without.
Med de barsa man, du vet det her carte blanche. Bygde det jeg bygde uten støtte fra noe platebransj. Men hvordan kan du passere når tempoet som Esteban? Brorsan med de barsa man, du vet det her carte blanche. Bygde det jeg bygde uten støtte fra noe platebransj. Til alle homies som jeg møtte når jeg malte langs. Føler meg som Petter Pan. At jeg har blitt gammel når jeg føler meg som Petter Pan. Veteran, klekker ut den neste plan.
Number 9, and this is not strictly related to mixing, but when producing, you can automate the attack and the release on synths, for example, so that when you have a synth track going on, you can create some interest by using the release knob to drag out a sound a bit more and automate the attack to just pull it in a bit to make the transients go away a bit. Listen to this with and without. And when it comes to attack and release, you can do this on everything that has a attack and release function, such as a compressor or a reverb, and etc. Now, if you like this video so far, hit the like button and consider subscribing if you want more videos like these and get notifications and everything. And let me know in the comments, do you use any of these automation techniques that I have presented here? Which one is your favorite? And do you use automation for anything else? Let me know in the comments. Sure, let us know. Now comes number 10, and this is the queen of the crop, and this is the one that is talked least about, even though some of the plugins tend to be a bit hyped, but I think some of them deserve the hype. But there's specialized automation plugins such as LFOs, auto panners, and then you have the king on the hill, which is the Transit from Baby Audio. Now you can use these to create some really smooth and subtle variations or gigantic variations. So you can completely revolutionize the soundscape of a song. Look at this. Not sponsored, by the way, but I just had to. Listen with and without. I have another tip video, and that's 32 tips for 10xing your speed in Logic Pro. And here's a playlist with advanced mixing tips. Hope I see you in one of those. Peace!